Welcome to Simply Explained English, the podcast where we make learning English easy and fun. I am Lisa.
And I am Eric. Whether you're a student, a professional, or just someone who loves learning English, this podcast is for you.
So let's get started and make English simple and enjoyable together. What are the words today, Eric?
The first word today is obvious. Then we will continue with to be mistaken and to be about to do something. Then look up to somebody. And the final one is at the end of the day.
Let's start with the first word, Eric.
The first word is obvious.
Obvious.
Obvious. Obvious means something easy to see or understand. When something is obvious, you do not need to think hard about it.
Yes, that's right. Now, let's give some example sentences. Eric, you go first.
Sure, it is obvious that the sky is blue.
It means it is clear and easy to see the sky is blue. You do not need to think hard to know this.
Exactly. Now your turn, Lisa.
Okay, here is the second example sentence. It was obvious that she was happy because she was smiling.
It means it is clear and easy to see that she was happy because you can see her smiling. You do not need to guess her feelings.
Right. Sometimes we use obvious with the preposition to. For example, it was obvious to everyone that he was tired. And sometimes we can use it with that, like, it is obvious that she is a good student.
Exactly. Now, let's listen to a sample dialogue using obvious. John and Mary are talking at a school cafeteria.
Mary, did you understand the math lesson today?
Yes, it was obvious. The teacher explained it very well.
Really? It was not obvious to me. I think I need to study more.
Maybe you can ask the teacher to explain it again. It might become obvious after that.
That was a good dialogue. Now, let's talk about obvious. Do you think it's obvious that practice helps us learn better?
Yes, it is obvious to me. The more we practice, the better we get.
I agree. Do you know any other words that mean almost the same as obvious, Eric?
Yes, words like clear, evident, and apparent have similar meanings. Anything else you want to add about our word today?
Just remember that obvious means something very clear or easy to see and understand. It's an adjective used to describe nouns.
Yes, and they can remember to use to or that with obvious when making sentences.
Yes, those are very helpful. Well, that's it for our word obvious. We hope it's obvious to everyone now what it means.
I hope so, Lisa. All right, the next word is to be mistaken.
To be mistaken.
To be mistaken. To be mistaken means to be wrong or incorrect about something. It's used when someone believes something that is not true.
Yes, exactly. For example, I thought the meeting was at 3 p.m., but I was mistaken. It means that the person was wrong about the time of the meeting.
My example sentence is, she thought he was the manager, but she was mistaken. It means that she was wrong to think he was the manager. So, to be mistaken is used when you realize what you thought or believed was incorrect.
Right. And we often use it with about. For example, I was mistaken about the date.
Great point, Lisa. Now, let's use to be mistaken in a short dialogue. Tom and Jane are talking about a movie they watched last week.
Jane, did you like the movie we saw last week?
Oh, Tom, I thought it was a comedy, but I was mistaken. It was a drama.
Yes, I was mistaken too. I thought it would be funny, but it was very serious.
Great dialogue, Eric. It shows how both Tom and Jane were mistaken about the movie.
Yes, it does. Now, let's chat a bit about being mistaken. Lisa, can you think of a time when you were mistaken about something?
Yes. Last month, I thought my friend's birthday was on the 15th, but I was mistaken. It was actually on the 14th.
Oh, that's a good example. It's easy to be mistaken about dates. For me, I was mistaken about the address of a restaurant. I went to the wrong place.
Oh no, that must have been frustrating. Do you think it's common to be mistaken about addresses?
Yes, especially if you don't check carefully. That's why it's important to double-check information.
Very true. We all make mistakes sometimes. It's part of learning.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for our word to be mistaken. We hope you all understand it better now.
Okay, let's move on to our next word. What's the next word, Eric?
The next word is to be about to do something.
To be about to do something.
To be about to do something.
Let's explain this phrase to our listeners. To be about to do something means you will do something very soon, in the immediate future.
That's right, Lisa. It's used when an action is just about to happen or start.
Now, let's give some example sentences. Eric, can you start?
Sure. Here's my example. I was about to leave for work when my phone rang. It means that I was just going to leave for work, but right before I left, my phone rang.
Good explanation. Here's my example. The movie is about to start, so we should find our seats. It means that the movie will begin very soon, so we need to sit down quickly before it starts.
Great. Now, let's talk about how to use this phrase. We use to be about to, followed by the base form of a verb, like I am about to leave, or he was about to cook.
That's right. Now, let's hear a dialogue using this phrase. Ready, Eric?
Ready.
Tommy, dinner's ready.
Okay, Mom, I'm about to finish this level in my game.
The food will get cold. Come now, please.
All right, I'm about to come. Just one more minute.
Tommy, I'm about to be late for the concert. Please hurry up.
Okay, I'm coming.
That was a good dialogue, Eric. Let's talk about it. What was Tommy about to do when his mom called him?
Tommy was about to finish a level in his game. He wanted to complete it before the dinner.
That's right. And what did Mom say about the food?
Mom said she was about to be late, meaning soon if Tommy didn't come to eat.
Exactly.
Lisa, can you share anything important in the past with us while you were about to do something?
Sure. I was about to board a plane when I realized I forgot my passport at home.
What did you do?
It was obvious that I would miss the flight. I went back home and got my passport for the next flight. And the plane was about to leave when I arrived at the airport for the next flight. I caught the plane at the last minute.
Wow, that must have been stressful.
Yes, it was. Since then, I have been checking my passport twice before going somewhere abroad.
It's a good idea.
Thanks, Eric. Okay, it's a useful phrase for talking about immediate future actions. Now let's move on to our next word.
The next word is look up to somebody.
Look up to somebody.
Look up to somebody.
Let's explain this phrase to our listeners. To look up to somebody means to admire or respect someone, often because they have qualities you want to have.
That's right, Lisa. It's used when you think highly of someone and see them as a good example. For example, many young basketball players look up to Michael Jordan. It means that many young basketball players admire Michael Jordan and want to be like him because he was such a great player.
Good explanation. Here's my example. I look up to my older sister because she's kind and successful. It means that I admire my older sister and respect her because she has good qualities, like kindness and success.
Now let's hear a dialogue using this phrase. Ready, Lisa?
Yes, I'm ready.
Dad, who did you look up to when you were my age?
I looked up to my science teacher, Mr. Johnson. He was so smart and kind.
That's cool. I look up to you, Dad.
Really? Why do you look up to me?
Because you're always there for me and you work hard. I want to be like that too.
That means a lot to me, son. Thank you.
That was a nice dialogue, Eric. Do you think it's important to have someone to look up to?
Yes, I do. Having role models can inspire us to be better. What do you think, Lisa?
I agree. Looking up to someone can help us set goals and improve ourselves. Who do you look up to, Eric?
I look up to my grandfather. He's always patient and wise. What about you, Lisa?
I look up to my favorite teacher from school. She encouraged me to work hard and believe in myself.
Those sound like great people to look up to. Do you think we can look up to people we don't know personally?
Yes, I think so. We can look up to famous people or historical figures who inspire us. We can look up to anyone who inspires us as long as we admire their good qualities.
Well said. That's all we have time for with this phrase. Remember, listeners, to look up to somebody means to admire or respect them.
Exactly. Now, let's move on to our last word today.
The last word is at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day. At the end of the day is a phrase. It means the most important fact or the final result after considering everything. Here's an example sentence. At the end of the day, we all just want to be happy. It means that after thinking about everything, the most important thing is that we all want to be happy.
Here's my example. We had some problems, but at the end of the day, the project was successful. It means that although we had some problems, the most important thing was that the project was successful.
Exactly. This phrase is an idiom. It is usually used to emphasize the main point at the beginning or in the middle of a sentence.
Good point, Eric. Now, let's use at the end of the day in a short dialogue.
Sounds good.
Emily, do you think our project will win the prize?
I hope so, Mark. But at the end of the day, we will learn a lot.
Yes, you're right. At the end of the day, the experience is more important than the prize.
Nice dialogue, Eric. It shows how Mark and Emily use at the end of the day to sum up their thoughts.
Yes, it does. Now, let's chat a bit about at the end of the day. Lisa, can you think of a time when you used this phrase?
Yes. Last week, I was discussing plans with a friend. We had many ideas, but at the end of the day, we decided to keep it simple.
That's a good example. It shows how you reached a final decision. For me, I was thinking about buying a new phone. I looked at many options, but at the end of the day, I chose the one that was the best value.
Oh, that's smart. Do you think it's important to use the phrase at the end of the day?
Yes, because it's very useful in everyday conversations. It helps to emphasize the final point or conclusion.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, our followers, that's it for today's episode of Simply Explained English. We hope you found our explanations helpful and easy to understand.
Don't forget to subscribe and like our podcast.
Until next time, keep practicing and have fun with English. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. Take care and see you soon.